All right, let's talk about my experience with this book, Moms on Call. So for background, this is a baby care book, which I think is most famous because it has daily recommended routines depending on the age of your baby. So they have a recommended routine for 2 to 4 week olds, 4 to 8 week olds, etc. You get the idea. My husband and I have just finished the 2 to 4 week routine, and we're now in the 4 to 8 week routine. So let's talk about it. Now, before diving into what we're doing here, let me just say that we waited until my son was exceeding his birth weight and gaining healthy weight, and until I had mastered breastfeeding. And I use the term mastered loosely because do you ever really master it? Who knows? My favorite thing about having this as a framework is that knowing hour by hour, a broad strokes recommendation of things that you should be doing with your baby has been really helpful for me. Something as simple as knowing the bedtime of a baby. I would have been trying to put my son to bed at like 6 p.m. thinking babies need sleep. The approach recommended here is that the younger your baby is, the later the bedtime is, and as they get older, you bring that bedtime back. Just that alone has been really, really helpful. And the whole bedtime routine is something that I wouldn't have really paid much attention to without this book. Thinking about, okay, what time are we bathing him every night? What time are we doing tender time with him? What time are we putting him down to sleep? These are things that I probably would have wung it, you know what I mean? But having that structure has been, really helpful. And not only for me, but also for my husband, to tell my husband, hey, if you want to see your son before the end of the day, you have to be home at this time because this is the time that, bath time starts and tender time starts and bedtime starts. Which kind of brings me on to the second thing that I really love about this, which is that the schedules here are really set up to help your baby sleep at night. So I read a 700-page book on sleep, and that was an amazing book. It was super informative, but it didn't have as actionable takeaways as this one does. And also this one, as you can see, is much shorter. This one's kind of built where you can like dip in and out, but I'm just going to stick to talking specifically about the routines. Every day is basically set up in a cycle of sleep, eat, play. And it rotates these like every 3 hours. You do 1 hour of awake time, 2 hours of sleep. This is for the first schedule, let me just caveat. Having that as a framework is incredibly helpful because you're basically prompting your baby as much as you can to then sleep more at night. But I will say, because I know a lot of people would probably have issues with this book and around the idea of like crying it out or not giving your baby what they need, I found that it has been very few instances where my baby's needs have not more or less aligned with what the book is telling us to do. The main difference is that we put him down for naps more than we probably would if we were letting him lead the way. He definitely still does do contact naps, but with the help of the book, we're aiming for at least 2 naps in his crib per day, just so that he gets used to falling asleep by himself. And also the idea of putting him to sleep at a specific time and really trying to nurture and encourage him to sleep, to help him practice the act of sleeping. I don't think that's something that I would do without this book and without thinking, oh, it's nap time, let's put him down. I wouldn't have had an idea when nap time was. I probably wouldn't have had nap times, which again might work for some people. So putting him down for naps is one thing that definitely takes work because it's something that he doesn't always do naturally. And then if he wakes up from a nap before he's meant to properly get up, we'll go in and soothe him and sit with him. I think that this book gets a bad rep because people think that it's advocating cry it out. This book recommends, I think it's 3 soothing cycles. So it talks you through how to do those cycles. And then after that, it says, pick your baby up. There's a huge caveat here in that the book also says like everyone has to do what's right for them. If you don't feel comfortable soothing your baby before picking them up, just pick them up, do what's right for you. So we've kind of been following our instincts on that front and kind of doing what feels right in the moment when he cries. I do like that this is not heavy on the cried out promotion. The other thing that I wouldn't have thought about if it wasn't for this book is the idea of nap time followed by feeding followed by play, because I would have swapped the play and the feeding because to me, my son likes to sleep after eating, and to feed him and where he's really sleepy, then trying to wake him up to do some tummy time or something, it is hard. But when I was digging into why they recommend this on their Facebook group, it seems like they're trying to set you up so that you are waking your baby up to then help them practice falling back asleep, so that when you get into like less frequent naps, your child has practiced that skill and can sleep without needing to be fed before sleeping, if you see what I mean, which totally makes sense. In terms of things that I didn't love about this book, my main kind of constructive criticism would be that there are some elements of ambiguity, and I wish they were more precise about things, specifically waking your baby up during the night. So my pediatrician recommended waking him up to feed. The book doesn't really say to wake them up. It says like sometime between 12 and 2 a.m. midnight feed, but it doesn't say if my child doesn't wake up, should I proactively wake them up? Should I let them sleep? So I wish they had a steer on that. We've just stopped proactively waking my son up. So now he's waking us up when he's hungry, which is now like once a night, which is pretty good, I think. The other elements of ambiguity are, should this start at gestational age? Should this start on the actual birthday? Like, what is the right, when is this meant to start? I don't really know. And the other thing is around diaper changes. So like, when I wake up to feed my son in the night, should I change his diaper because that wakes him up? So before every time I was feeding him in the night, I was changing his diaper and then feeding him. We have just stopped doing that, which hasn't seemed to be a problem. My new thing, which I've just learned, is if my son is comfortable and if he's not complaining, I'm just gonna leave him and let him be, because if he's happy, I'm happy. Yeah, I wish the book went into that a little bit more. But overall, I'm really happy with this. I know it's not for everyone. I think everyone has to do what's right for them. But in terms of helping us hopefully teach my son how to sleep well, I think it's been really valuable in terms of giving me some structure for the day, encouraging me to feed him every X amount of hours and play with him X amount of hours. It's been really helpful versus just kind of like free winging it, which I just don't thrive in a winging environment personally. Some people do. I'm just not one of those people. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope this helps, and I will continue to update you as we go along our Moms on Call journey.